From soul pieces to soul pieces.
Soul pieces.
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 Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, friends and followers. This is Latanya Ingram. I am the founder and the host of From Soul Pieces to Soul Peace. We are an organization that has dedicated itself to empowering and inspiring. Sometimes those words get my tongue all tied up, but empowering and inspiring women from all walks of earth. One of our main mottos is building a community of strong women. How do we do that, you may ask? We do that by hosting 4 seminars a year all over the country. If you've been a follower of the page, then you know for the last 3 years, we have not done in person seminars because of COVID. So, just like a lot of the world, we were shut down. We did try it virtually. However, our goal is to meet and interact with ladies all over the world. And so we sat it out just like a lot of the world. And this year, in February, we began our in-person seminars. We relaunched right here in the Tampa Bay area. Our theme for this year is the Resurgence. It is beginning again or a renewal after there has been a period of inactivity. So it not only speaks for the organization as a whole, but it also speaks for a lot of us, those who are a part of the administration team, our own personal lives. We're now coming out of a period of inactivity, doing nothing, and getting back to the assignment that has been placed in our hands. We are a legitimate and a legally established 501c3 organization. So if you feel compelled or led to donate or sponsor a woman at any one of our seminars, please feel free to do so. You're able to do that by way of our website, which is fsptsp.org. We are so excited because it is just a little bit over a week before we will be hosting our second seminar of this year in Richmond, Virginia. We're excited for many reasons. One, because before we were shut down by the pandemic, we were scheduled to be in Richmond. So it was heartbreaking that we had to do that. However, we are excited because we are coming back to, or we are headed to Richmond, Virginia, July the 29th. I don't have the exact address in front of me. However, if you continue to follow this page or go to fsptsp.org, all of the information is there. I know we are at the DoubleTree at the airport location, and our seminars will begin promptly at 10 a.m. So you still have time to register. Listen, we have an awesome lineup. Women who are going to speak into the lives of our attendees, and not just our attendees. I sit fully engaged. I'm always gaining something personally that help my own personal life at these seminars. So you still have time to register. The cost of admission does include a catered lunch. And if you have the opportunity to meet any of our staff, talk to any of our previous attendees, we give away great gifts. We always want to leave our ladies with something, not just information that can change the trajectory of their life, but something tangible that will add to their life. So yes, there's room. There is limited seating, but there is room for you to register and bring a friend. We'll only be there for 4 hours, 4 impactful hours. So go ahead to that website, fsptsp.org, and register. So today we have an interview with a young lady who is going to be our panelist, one of our panelists. I had the pleasure of meeting her and listening to her speak this spring, back in May of this year. Now, before I met her, someone shared some information about her and said, listen, I think she would be a great panelist for what we have going on, for what Soul Pieces does. I said, okay, sure. And I must say, I was intrigued when I listened to her. My life in fact, I could identify with some of the things that she shared. Hey, Miss Barbara, I could identify with some of the things that she shared regarding her life, and I thought she was so. What really attracted me to her, to the person that she is, or her spirit, was that she was so humble and transparent. Um, there's a stigma, not necessarily a stigma, but the projection now is, um, perfection. People want to present themselves as being perfect, not having been through anything. They don't have a struggle, when there's absolutely nothing wrong with sharing the fact that you had, emphasis on the word had a struggle, and you've come out of that. So many people want to know. So many people are stuck in a place and they don't know how to get out of that place. They want to speak with someone who they can sit and glean from on a how to do it, someone that can teach them or share with them steps, some practical steps that they can implement in their life, so that they can get out of the current situation that they are in to the place that they want to be. And sometimes all they need is a visual, somebody in front of them, somebody that can tell them, somebody that can mentor them, guide them. And so when I was listening to Miss Carmen, I was intrigued by her story. She's also an established author. She does have a book. I'm not sure if she's going to mention that with you, that she has co-authored with a couple of other strong women who are sharing the details of their life, what may have been a struggle for them as well. But it was a struggle. These ladies have come out on the other side of that struggle and are sharing their stories, so the likes of other women all over the world can hear and implement the steps that they have taken. And so, without further ado, I would like to introduce to those of you who are watching now, those who may watch the replay a little later, to none other than Miss Carmen Clack. And before she comes on, those of you who are watching, if you could do us a big favor and share this broadcast, I would really appreciate it. And without further ado, again, Miss Carmen.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Miss Carmen. How are you doing?
I am good.
Listen, it is so good to finally get you on to meet the speaker. We had a little
Yes,
bit of
ma'am.
difficulty today, and there were some other things that happened last week. As much as I love God and love this platform, I'm not going to get in the way of any um, commitments to the Lord. So,
Yes, ma'am.
originally scheduled for last week, but here we are this week, Miss Carmen. Miss
Yes,
Carmen,
ma'am. We are finally here.
yes.
We not gonna worry about all those glitches earlier. It's gonna be what it's gonna be.
Yes, ma'am. I do agree with you. Listen, can you do me a favor and introduce yourself to our viewers? Tell us something about Miss Carmen Clack. What makes Miss Carmen Miss Carmen?
So like you said, I am just me, really. I'm a wife, a mother, a grandmother, an auntie, a sister. I'm all of those things. But at the end of the day, I could just be me. I am learning to just be me
Okay.
unapologetically. And I'm just here enjoying the platform that I've been given
Mhm.
in order to help the people around me and help who wants to hear it.
Share with us a little bit about that platform. What does that platform consist of? What does it entail?
So I was approached last year about telling my story. So I co-authored in a book called Releasing the Shackles, Surviving Abuse.
Mhm.
And we released that book, me and 7 other, like you said, strong women that have a story that came out on the other side. And that book has provided me a platform that I thought about for years with telling my story. Now, my chapter is just a very small snippet of my story, but it created a platform for me to start sharing that story and helping somebody else, because that's really all that I really want to do at this point.
Absolutely.
I did not go through it for nothing.
Right.
There is a release in my testimony for somebody else.
Okay. And
So
so the basis of your story or your chapter in this particular book that you referenced, that's on abuse. Would that be
correct.
possible?
I am a survivor of domestic abuse.
Okay. Okay. So we may have to bring you back. Let me just throw this plug out there. We may have to bring you back in October, which is National, isn't it Domestic Violence Abuse?
Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Yes, it is.
Okay. For a long time, there's been a stigma attached to domestic violence, rather, or domestic abuse. A lot of women and men too, because we do have to throw that out there that women are not the ones who are victims of domestic abuse. However, I think the statistics do point to the fact that women typically are more so victims than the abusers. However, there's been a stigma attached to it where women don't necessarily want it to be known that they have been abused. There's shame attached to that story. Sometimes there's guilt attached to the story because, some of the first things out of listeners' mouths are, "Why did you stay?" Or, "I wouldn't have taken that if I were you," without knowing all of the details to the story. It's not as
I hear that all the time. I hear it all the time. And it does, if you're not in the right headspace and you're in a space and that's what you're hearing, it does start to weigh on you and you feel a guilt. You are already dealing with the guilt that comes along with disappointing the ones that were closest to you.
right.
And then on top of hearing what the world wants to perceive as you just not being strong enough to get up and walk away. It starts to weigh on you and it becomes a thing where I'm just not going to say anything.
Right. So how long ago was it that you were actually in the midst of this abuse?
Oh, 20 plus years.
Really?
20 plus years ago. Yes. I was not released to tell my story until some things came full circle. Some things had to come full circle. Because it's not just my story. My kids are very heavily involved.
Sure.
I needed them to be in a space. I went to each one of them and asked them how they felt about me telling my story, because it doesn't only involve me, it involves them as well.
I think that was very wise. Our stories always have somebody else attached to them. And we have to consider where they are, how they feel about it. We may be going through a healing process where we're stronger. We're able to talk about it without crying. We're able to share details where details are needed. But we have to consider the fact that other people are attached to it. And because we're healing, we're in a stage where we can go from here to there. The persons that went through it with us may not be.
Yeah.
So I do understand that waiting for a little bit, waiting till the time was right so that everyone involved on your end, they would be able to, just in case they were questioned, just in case somebody wanted to ask them, well, how did you deal with it? When you saw your mother experiencing this, how did you handle it? Now they're able to talk about it without guilt and shame as well.
Right.
So I have a couple of questions for you pertaining to that. I really did want you to set the stage about what it is that you want to talk about, because of course I want you to be comfortable
absolutely,
with anything that you share with us. So when it got really dark in your life, 20 plus years ago, when you were going through all of that, what was your resolution? When did it hit you, or you made a decision, I got to leave now?
So I can't pinpoint a thing. I literally woke up and was like, yep, that's it. That's it. And packed up me, my daughter. My son wasn't with me at the time. And if you come to the seminar, you'll hear a little bit of more about my two other children who weren't with me at the time. But I packed my daughter up, left, didn't turn back, and literally took everything I had and went and slept on my mama's floor.
So nothing happened that day. You just woke up and decided this is
That's it.
today.
Now, I'm not telling you that the thoughts hadn't come through my mind, that I hadn't tried to plan. And because I think a lot of people, we talk about, well, we had a plan to get out. We got to figure a way to get out. A lot of us are attached very heavily financially in those type of situations, and we can't make those moves. I personally was just fortunate enough to have a floor to go sleep on. I mean, because when you talk about from soul peace to soul peace, that was the most peaceful night's sleep I had gotten in a while, on my mama's floor with my daughter.
On the floor. As
The floor.
opposed to
That part.
yeah. I get it. And you know what? Last year in October, so we dedicated the entire month bringing on a different host every week, talking about what it takes, the statistics, when it's most dangerous for a woman to leave a situation. And it really is sad sometimes the backlash that women get for staying as long as they did. People not realizing, though they stayed just about every day, they're thinking, I'm just waiting on my opportunity. I know what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
I'm living with. I know their moves, and I know they're watching how I move. So I have to be very careful, because statistics also prove that the moment that woman makes a decision to leave, that becomes the most dangerous time for her. And if she
and that wasn't the first time I left.
wow, yeah,
That wasn't the first time I left, and he came and got me every time.
wow. Let's see. I have another question for you. No, let me move on. I was about to say something. Again, I can certainly identify with this portion of your life. What was your biggest obstacle when it came to changing your life path or changing your situation from where you were then to where you are now?
Delivering myself from people.
Mm.
The biggest hurdle was just that. Way too concerned with what people were gonna think,
Mm-hmm.
and what, like you were talking about, that stigma, that guilt. Yeah, definitely delivering myself from what people thought. I couldn't do it anymore. It was not for me to carry their thoughts
Mm-hmm.
about me. I had to change how I was thinking about myself.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes when we listen to what other people say, what we should do, what we should have done, when we look at the lives of other people and we compare our lives to their life, we hear there's so many voices in our head, and sometimes we can't think clearly or think
Yeah.
because we have so much noise going on in our head. Oftentimes putting ourselves, and if we have small children with us, putting our children at risk because we're thinking about everything else except for our safety and the safety of our kids.
Yeah.
And of course, this particular broadcast and the seminar altogether, July the 28th, that seminar is not targeting domestic violence. This just happens to be Carmen's story.
Just my story.
Mm-hmm. We take women from different backgrounds that have gone through many different things. Sometimes it's physical, like domestic violence. Sometimes it's other things that are more practical. We realize that there are many components that make up who we are. And if these things are all shattered, then it leaves our soul in pieces. So it's not just domestic violence, it's not just sexual abuse, it's not just rape, it's not just trauma, it's not just abandonment and rejection issues. It can be a whole plethora of issues that can leave us in a state where we're just unproductive. This just
Absolutely. And
Carmen.
that's just what, like I said, that's just one small part of my story. So,
Typically, when it comes to abuse, there are many layers to that. You're dealing with a whole lot
absolutely.
of things. You
Oh
are
my goodness.
things.
Layers.
Yeah. You know what? When now, when you get to this side where you're not in the midst of abuse, you're not running for your life, you're not having to try and save yourself and your kids. Your life is better now. When people hear your story, I'm certain one of the things you may hear often is, "Oh my God, you're a strong woman. You're a
Yes.
strong woman." Does hearing that, how do you feel about the comment that you are a strong woman? Is there pressure in being a strong woman?
I think yes, day to day it's pressure being a strong woman. I think when you are the one everybody goes to, when you are the one that is pulled upon and needs to be there, there is that pressure. You
Mhm.
definitely have that pressure. But I am starting to learn that, and my new little mantra, that I'm not even going to sit here and take all the credit for it. It's not even my story anymore. It's His grace.
Right.
So that takes a lot of pressure off of me
Yeah.
because I'm going to just let Him have it all. He did it. Yep, He did it. Um, so it doesn't all fall so heavy on me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When we hear the term, when we hear about strength, the strength that it takes to endure and push through and be strong. However, there is strength in being, however, there is strength in being vulnerable too.
Yeah.
Can we count on you to be vulnerable with our guests at this seminar?
Absolutely. You were saying earlier, I'm not gonna promise you it won't be a tear. There are still parts that bring on a tear. Um, so I can't promise it'll be, dry eyes the whole time for me. But I, if my vulnerability is going to help somebody else,
Mhm.
I'm going to be vulnerable. Um, transparency. I posted today. Transparency is the word of the day. So whatever you were going to ask me today, it was going to get an answer. Um,
That's
however people wanted to receive it or not receive it, it was going to be what it was going to be today.
that's actually a staple of From Soul Pieces to Soul Piece. This is why um, we do have a videographer and photographer that records. And you all may have seen that whenever you come in, there's an understanding on the website. You will see once you enter these doors, you are subject to being recorded. Now, of course, we use videos to advertise and promote future seminars. However, we do not use personal information. We set the atmosphere. We want the atmosphere to be conducive for very candid and fluid conversation, very sensitive conversation. We pass around Kleenex, so you'll be fine. We'll be in great company if anybody decides to shed a
Okay.
tear. Or, that's what happens. We pass around Kleenex, so we're ready for that. But my point is, we do want the atmosphere to be conducive for healing. We don't want women to leave the same way they came. You're
Absolutely.
yeah, our attendees are spending not the day with us, but they're spending time with us and they're spending money. Do you have to pay, for this type of information? Not necessarily. However, our community, what we're doing is building a community of strong women. We're building a platform where women can, well, for one, so we can tear down this misnomer that women don't get along. That is
Right.
not necessarily true. You don't get along if you don't want to get along. If you want to get along, you can. There's nothing wrong with identifying a woman that you can relate to. You see something in her that you believe would be a help to you. There's nothing absolutely wrong with that. I see women all the time that I'm like, I want what she wants. How did she do that? I need to talk with her
I
to
need to connect. I need to touch her. Yep.
absolutely. And so that's what this platform is for. So we're hoping that the women who come in, um, the pressure for lack of a better word, would be on you and the other panelists to make them comfortable, so that they will leave differently. You know, if there's something on them that they will be willing to share or ask, you know, I need some help in this area right here. And it's not just for women who are broken. Every woman isn't broken. There's some women that
Absolutely.
men who are strong, but they yet still need a little bit of help, or you know, need some help in one area or another. And so that's what we are there for. Miss Carmen, I told you we weren't going to be very long. Thank you so much for sharing what you have shared with us. I look forward to hearing more about your story. I
I'm
told you
excited.
I've been captivated from the moment I heard you speak in Richmond in May. I've been captivated by your book. I have actually been encouraged to keep working based on what I have read in your book. So thank you so much again for coming on for these few minutes, introducing yourself and your platform, letting us know what it is that you've, a snippet of what you've been through. The fact that today you're smiling. 20 years ago, you probably
Yes,
looking the same as you're looking right now.
I definitely wasn't.
We thank God for his grace that brought you out of that situation. So, ladies and gentlemen, this Meet the Speaker session has come to an end. Again, if you are interested in coming to this seminar, go to fsp.tsp.org so you can register. There is yet still seats that are available. You'll hear the rest of Carmen's story and a few other ladies that we will have as our panelists as well. If you have never followed us before, then what we also do whenever we go to a host city, we try to look at what's going on in that area and try to make a difference in that particular area. We call that particular session our community connection. As far as Richmond is concerned, our community connection will be on homelessness. We're going to shine the light on homelessness, specifically for women and children. One of our administrator with From Soul Pieces to Soul Peace, she's been a part of this organization since we got started. She takes it upon herself because God gave her the vision to do this. Every other week, she prepares a hot meal and drives around the city of Richmond feeding the homeless. So what we are going to ask those of you who are willing to be a help to please Cash App. Excuse me, this is what I want you to do. If you plan on coming to the seminar, if you could bring an item of food, canned good, boxed foods, anything like that, we're going to have a receptacle for those items so that we can give this to her. She didn't ask me to do this. This is something that I was led to do. Bring a food item if you're registering to come to the seminar. If you don't think you're going to be at the seminar, or if you're going to be at the seminar and you still want to donate monetarily, if you would also go to fsptsp.org, donate that way, and in the comment, if you would put feed the homeless. Now, social media has made it very easy for us to take pictures of whatever it is that we're doing and posting it. Please understand that when it comes to the homeless, these are people whom we desire to preserve their dignity. Everybody isn't homeless by choice. Some of this is circumstances that they cannot help. And so our desire is not to take pictures of them and plaster them all over social media. When I went to Richmond in May, I had the opportunity. First of all, Barbara's not going to let you not serve. She didn't have to twist my arm. I was willing to do it. But the desire at the time, not at the time, but period, was not to take pictures of these people who were in a vulnerable state. Just know that we fed them. She cooked them a hot meal and fed them. She does this out of her own pocket. And I just want to pour into the gift or the ground and what she's doing. So again, if you are interested in sewing in that area, if you would also go to fsptsp.org, donate monetarily that way, put in the comment, feed the homeless. And if you are planning on attending the seminar with us, if you will bring a food item, we'll have a receptacle for you to drop that in. Okay, I really do appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much, Carmen, for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I look forward to seeing you in just over a week.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. We hope to see you all soon. Again, if you've never followed this page before, if you will go to follow and like on Facebook, that way you will be kept updated with our next city, the next city that we're going to be at, and any other thing that we have going on. We also love suggestions. If you have any suggestions on how we can help a woman, anywhere, please feel free to drop that information in our inbox. We are always willing to make a difference in somebody's life because somebody made a difference in ours. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon.